sounds filled the hallway. Boots trembled where the rubber met the linoleum, and I was rolling on my dubs in my wheelchair. Patiently waiting in line for medication at the pharmacy. I just had a surgery following a combat stint in Iraq. Walter Reed Medical Center in Maryland is at the forefront of medical trauma and a place of transition for many active troops leaving combat for level 3 trauma care. For injuries suffered in the theater of combat operations, the stench of death and agony was pungent through the vents of the medical center. This seemed to pacify every soldier who knew they could have a sense of being alive other than the sense of smell. As a survivor, I felt this as well. I was depleted by guilt. Why me? And I now focus on the blessings of being able to see my fiancé, a true testament that divine intervention ever existed. But that XL ballistic vest had come in handy too. Client number A805, window number 2, please. The PA robotically announced. Just then, a uniformed high-ranking brass came at my 3 o'clock, casting a towering shadow. "Would it be okay if I can be ahead of you?" he said. Now, where I grew up, in a rural city of Lanai, island paradise of Hawaii, you respectfully asked person's permission and waited for his acknowledgement before he even dared to be cocky, or in this case, flagrantly jumping on the buffet line. "What? No, you may not. The back of the line is over there, sir." I observed the rankling on his shoulder epaulets, and I couldn't believe that he would use his rank to flout the time-honored soldier's creed, which was, and I quote, "I will not use my grade or position to attain pleasure, profit, or personal safety." The veins on his bald head bulged. Beads of sweat trickled down like a cascading fall. His breath was labored, but his ego was just as intimidating as the whole building. "Soldier, give me your rank, unit, and your commanding officer," he ordered. Suddenly, the whole pharmacy area just transformed into a buzzing soundstage, like an episode of Jerry Springer. Everybody stared in disbelief at the tense of drama unfolding between a wounded, low-ranking officer and a 3-star general. I would like to keep his anonymity by calling him General Squarepants Longshank. Now, if he is here, who is supervising hell? I wonder. He was the epitome of narcissism, and this led him to believe he could trample each and every individual who opposed him. And now, I, a lowly lieutenant, stepped up to him. General Longshank had a contemptuous stance and loomed over me with his 6'5", 250-pound frame, a creature of disturbing silence that turned into a troll when things did not go his way. I was never one to jump to any conclusion without knowing that I would land perfectly on both feet. But General Longshank made it a pressing matter. His rank and privilege imposed his demand to be the next person in line. I pushed my wheelchair into his personal space. My head and body is still groggy from the anesthesia. And I drew a verbal line in the sand. At this juncture, I realized that my own ego was bruised more deeply than my flesh. "Sir, I swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. By all means, I will crawl out of this wheelchair and shove it up your ass. See if it fits you, sir. The stitches of my wounds had come undone. My eyes were tomato soup red, tears in my cheeks, free-flowing. My nerves were splintered, impaled by guilt, and blended into a cocktail of dishonor and painkillers. My stomach was churning. This moment seemed like a fantasy, an Oscar-winning scene carried out by a gimp, a wounded soldier, recent recipient of the Purple Heart. I scanned from left to right. Everyone around us just stared. I felt no remorse, but there was no doubt I would be demoted for insubordination. Sure enough, military police came into the scene with handcuffs already dangling, and I had chosen to live by code, and now I was screwed. A flashback of my career occupied the 3 seconds of blackout before my impending arrest. And all I could remember were the medals, ribbons, proudly clinging for dear life on my uniform. The stripes that narrate an overseas combat tour. All my bragging rights, they had gone out of the window. If I could just restrain myself, bow down, or in this case, bent over here, everything would have been okay. I had always played the role of a good soldier. I was commended for my willingness to get rear-ended through my career in the College Freedom Fest. But not that day. I took a chance. I tested the waters. I had already been shot at twice. I was not going to shut it the third time. I was through being a target. Weeks later, I found myself at the military court, a scene of show and tell. I was sworn in. As I looked past the crowd, I tried to focus my sights on that clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. I felt a searing indictment that I was indeed guilty. The courtroom was still, while I trembled from my stern to where the sun don't shine. My fist unclenched, palm landed swiftly on the Bible. By God's grace, I do solemnly swear on oath that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I uttered the lines that I prayed would shed some light on one of the darkest days in my life. I summoned the grace of Buddha, Allah, Vishnu, and Jesus to keep me out of Dodge. I thought of Jeremiah 1:17, which reads, "Get yourself ready, stand up, and say to them whatever I command you. Do not be terrified by them, or I will terrify you before them." What the court revealed was shocking. The military tribunal investigated and found that General Longshank was a civilian impersonating a government official. He was accused and convicted of falsifying a military decal for access to medical care. And I was Lieutenant, you are hereby dismissed. Having to uphold the law is sometimes difficult. There are avenues where we can take the law into our own hands. Not like the Wild West where we duke it out in the streets. Leave it all there. We are not the Wild West. Although sometimes we need that system, but by law we cannot serve justice by committing another mistake. Lieutenant, you are hereby dismissed and hereby reinstated to your current rank, and will be transferred to your home unit effectively immediately. You serve our nation proud and great credit upon yourself and United States Army. And with that, The Judge Advocate General adjourned the case. Frederick Douglass said, he said it best, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And as I rolled out of the courtroom in my dubs, I felt that judge's final words to me, healing in multiple ways. Thank you.